Hey everybody, welcome to Stud Pack. On our previous video, you saw Jordan and I saw cut the concrete right around here where our old cast iron stack was. We got our Bosch demolition hammer, chipped out the concrete, and we tied into the original cast iron right here. So we got flow this way from plumbing devices over there, and we got flow this way all into this fitting right here. And I goofed. I put a cross here, and a lot of you in the comments pointed it out. And a big shout out to Josh and Michael and all the respectful plumbers for pointing it out to me. I should have caught it, but I didn't. But we got it all fixed up now. And like I said earlier, this is all dry fit together. We're actually gonna glue it together as we frame, so we don't have to cut short pieces of pipe and use a bunch of couplings to put it all together in the framing. Now before we frame, we do have to move a couple of other items. Number one is these water lines that are sticking up. And number two, it's the electrical. And today we're gonna focus on the electrical. And to do that, we're gonna be talking about hickeys, Jordan.
We did that 10 years ago.
We did, but I'm not talking about that kind of hickey, bud. I'm talking about this kind of hickey. This is a Greenlee 508, and it's for 1/2-inch rigid pipe. Now let me walk you through this. We believe that this one goes back to the panel because of the sweep of the 90 is pointed towards the panel. This one, because of the sweep, is probably going over there, and this one, because of the sweep that way, is probably going to the switch by the door. The one that's headed over here, we don't need all this. This is gonna be abandoned. We're gonna cut it off flush with the floor and pull the wires out. But bending pipe with a hickey is kind of an art, and I haven't done it in a long time. So we're gonna take advantage of the fact that we're gonna cut these off, and I'm gonna practice a couple of times on these before I cut them off. Remember we always say, if you're practicing coping your baseboard, if you're practicing with a new sprayer, practice first in a closet or where else, Jordan? At your friend's house, right? And then, when you're comfortable with it, do the project at hand. So I think I'm gonna do exactly that. I'm gonna practice on these two, see if I can get this bent over so it's less than 5.5 inches off the floor, because that's our framing, and see if we can do it. Since this piece of 1/2-inch rigid is already kind of leaning towards the wall, I think I'm gonna try to put a bend in it right here. And there were no wires in this one. Originally, when we did the demo, it was already empty. Bend, lift up, bend, lift up, bend, lift up. You got to gradually bend it. Am I there?
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Let me get a tape measure. All right, cool. I'm less than 5.5 inches, so I can get under my subfloor by bending it. I think I want to practice one more time on this one. Now that this one's out of my way, I should be able to get on this one right here. Start bending it over towards that wall. All right, I think I'm ready to work on the real deal now. Before I can start bending pipe, we got to remove this box. But before we move this box, I want to show you something that's pretty cool about it. I've got my tester plugged in, and as you can see, 2 orange lights, and according to the legend, it's correctly wired. But I already know that there is not a ground wire in this box. Now remember, this building was built in '72, 50 years ago. There's not a ground wire because they're using this metal piping and the fittings all the way back to the panel to get a path for the ground all the way back to the panel. Let me show you how it works. I'm going to remove the receptacle from the box and watch what happens to the lights right here. I got the top screw out. It should go out here right away. I'm going to pull the screw out, and there we go. Now what does it say? I got the light on in the middle, one light in the middle right here, open ground. I no longer have a ground. This strap right here is called the yoke, and it is actually riveted to the receptacle where the ground prong goes. So when you plug in a plug with a ground prong, it's connected to this yoke, which is connected to the box. I'm gonna push this in carefully, see a metal box, and those screws are hot right now, no electrical tape. I'm gonna push it in. I'll actually, see what's happening? I'm completing the ground with my hand. Look at that. The light's coming on via my hand because I'm completing a circuit with my hand. It's not shocking me, but I'm going to grab this and now I'm going to touch it. Now see, the yoke is now touching the box. It's wired correctly, open ground. Wired correctly, open ground. Was that?
Yeah, we get it.
So let me go turn off circuit 18 and we'll demo this box. Okay, one more little thing.
Okay.
And that works fine. The only thing I probably would have done different, in addition to wrapping that with tape, I would have removed this fiber washer, because that fiber washer is what retains this screw right here, and it actually acts as a little insulator, right? Without the fiber washer, you got full contact between the yoke and the mud ring on this box. So I'm tired of moving this around. I'm afraid I'm gonna get an arc right here, Jordan. So let's go turn off circuit 18. We'll demo this box. We'll find out which pair of wires goes over there. We'll pull them out, cut those off, pull all this loose, and start bending some conduit. Now, before I cut this receptacle loose, power's off, I know it's not the original receptacle. How do I know that? Check it out. There are pieces inside of the previous receptacle. Now, do you remember what it said on the wall right here, Jordan, on the drywall? Something about a forklift?
Right.
Yeah, forklift, fork extenders here.
Huh.
I bet the original one got poked with a forklift, and then somebody replaced this. But check this out. Look at that neutral under only half the screw, and that one's a combo head, Phillips and slotted. That one's just slotted. Kind of weird. And on this one, they put two neutrals under that single screw, and on the other side, they did the same thing. Kind of a mess. I'm just going to cut them off, flush right here, and get this out of our way. Circuit 18 is back on, so we should have 125 volts between the red, the hot, and the white neutral, and there we go. Now remember what I was saying earlier about the path of the conduit being the return path for fault current? If that holds true, I should have 125 volts between the hot and the pipe, which I do. Now remember, I also said that works because they're all bonded together. Well, check this out. This piece of conduit, which heads over there, is no longer physically connected to this one. If you look right here, there's a gap. So am I gonna have 125 volts here or not? I do. How come? Because the current is using the slab and the earth as a path for the fault current. I have it here also, which goes to the switch, which is more conduit all over the building, and I even have it to this little piece of EMT in the ground that was used as a stub up to duct tape all these together. Check it out. Pretty cool, huh? Let me cap these, we'll make them safe. We'll go turn the circuit off again while we're bending the pipe. And I think what I want to do, Jordan, is I want to cut those off, flush, so I stop tripping over them. And why don't we get this one out of our way too, so it's not in the way of the hickey. You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, we are finally ready to bend the pipe, and we're going to bend them towards Jordan where the camera is. Our new wall is going to be right here. So we're going to lay these over this way, use that same fitting and a new piece of EMT and turn it up in the wall with a junction box. I've got plenty of wire, so that's the plan. All right, bud, this is going pretty quick. You ready?
Yep.
All right. Okay, now I'll start to bend. All right, Jordan wants to give it a shot.
I do.
Yep. You saw me on that other one constantly feeling where it was coming out of the ground to make sure it wasn't kinking, right?
Right.
That's the key, no kinks. Doing great, bud. Nice. I like this camera thing, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I actually, I'm gonna be honest, I wish I did more work. I wish I had the opportunity to
Yeah.
get in here a little bit more
Well,
often.
We will very soon, right?
Yeah.
Look at you.
I'm just gonna say it, I think I was 5 times
Quicker than me.
quicker.
You were.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. I think I was just a little too gingerly with it, right?
You were overthinking it? That's
Like,
so,
yep.
that's unlike you.
So classic. All right, cool, man.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool, man. This hickey came in clutch. It's going to be awesome to have this on your build, Jordan, when we do the stud pack house, right?
That's right.
We'll put this in our arsenal, save that one for later. So it worked great as we laid this 1/2-inch rigid conduit over. Now we're going to put a coupling on here, the same ones we took off, and we're going to turn these up inside our wall. But we're going to do that during the framing stage so we get them just where we want them. Speaking of framing, that's actually our next step on this project, but we have one more thing in our way on this floor. We already took care of the sewer line, we took care of the electric, but now these water lines are too high, and we have to get this one and route it over to the sidewall for all the water for our new bathroom and the kitchen sink. So let's start on this easy one right here, huh, Jordan?
Do it.
The water is already off at the meter, and I cannot get either of my mini cutters in between here. So we're simply gonna cut them off with this little hacksaw from Milwaukee. And then I've got a 1/2" 90 and a 1/2" street 90. They're gonna go together like that. And we're gonna cap it way down here. Let's get started, buddy. So in the previous video, you saw that we blew the water out of the lines because we can't solder with water right there. It's going to foul up our joint, and it's going to pull all the heat out of the joint, and the solder will never melt and flow. This side's already empty, so I'm good. But this side goes to the front of the building for a hose bib. So I'm just going to use a straw, and I'm just going to suck it out of there. That's all I need. I'm the depth of the straw, so I know the water's not going to pull the heat out of our fitting. What I want to do now, I'm going to get a file, clean up the outside. Since I cut it with a saw blade, that's a little bit rough. So let me grab a file, we'll clean that up. We'll clean all our fittings and the tubing, flux it up, and solder this one real easy. We got it all filed off on the OD of the pipe, so it's nice and smooth right here. And I like to clean it with this Blue Monster tubing cleaner. It cleans the outside of the pipe, you pull that down, and the inside of the fitting, chuck it in the drill, and it's really fast. And we'll make sure we put a link to this in the description below. There we go. All right, gang, that's not the prettiest solder job I've ever done. These two guys aren't parallel, and this is as tight as we could get these two fittings, but we made it work, and we will make up for it on this one. Check it out. All right, here's the one from the meter, 3/4 copper line, all the way back to the meter, and this 1/2" line is feeding the one we just soldered together. And we have the same situation here. These are coming up out of the slab at an angle. They're not parallel, and these are too close together. So these are the fittings I'm gonna use. I've got a 3/4 street L right here. It's gonna slide into the 3/4 inch T, and I've got a 1/2" reducer into the 3/4 T to make up right here. It's all gonna point that way to the wall. We're gonna come off with 3/4 copper, 90 up, and put a ball valve for a shutoff for the whole new bathroom. So I think what I wanna do first, I'm gonna cut them high up here. That's gonna give me some length of pipe so I can maneuver these around, get them parallel and the distance apart that I want, and then I'm gonna cut them to length. Because you'll see, I gotta cut the 1/2" here to go in this fitting, and the 3/4 is gonna be a little higher to go in here. Let's grab our saw and cut them. You ready, bud? I'm a little anxious again. Let's get it done. Why don't we try the hickey, bud? I think I'm gonna slide it over that and then very gently, see it's already bending, it's very nice, this soft copper, bending really easily, but I wanna be careful, I have to be careful, can't kink it. I like my distance now, a little more, but now they're not parallel. So let me try to put a little crook in that if I can. Bend a little, move up, bend a little, move up.
And then you're gonna come at the top.
And I'm gonna come up, yeah, exactly, come back at the top and go back. See how I'm forming that into an egg shape? That's why I left it long. When we cut it down here, we should be good. Should be is the key word. Yeah, we're still too far apart, look. May have to rethink this, bud. May have to come this way. May have to do something like that. Bring them both to the right and tie together over here. What do you think? Bring the 3/4 over, bring the 1/2 over, and tie them together over here instead of trying to do it all in this one tiny spot.
Do we have the fittings for that?
Great question. Actually, we do. Look, check it out. I know I've got 1/2" 90s. I got that's the thing I have the most of. Why don't we do that? Why don't we do it that way? I feel a lot better about that.
Audible mid-video?
Yeah, a few more fittings, but I feel a lot better about it.
Okay.
All right, here we go. All right, let's dry fit this. Oh, there we go. Cool. That line will run right across there, tie in with our half. I'm liking that a lot better already, aren't you?
I like it.
All right, let's do the 1/2 inch side. All right, gang, we're all dry fit together, no solder yet, and that's the best we could come up with. These were too close together to do what we wanted, so we just made the connection out here where we had some room and more flexibility. Get a lot of questions about the copper we pull out of these buildings. What do we do with it? You'll be happy to know we're reusing it. This is from the demo, that's from the demo. I had that street 90 and that 90. And we just reused this section of pipe here that came out of the old bathroom with the elbow already intact. We'll put a male adapter here with a shutoff valve. That'll be on an access panel under the vanity. So I think it's time to clean all this up, flux it up, solder it up, and then we go clean up. Let's do it.
Don't flux it up.
All right. All right, cool, Jordan. That's all done, and it looks great. Now, I don't solder very often, just a couple times a year, right? And it's definitely an art. I think it's an art, but I think it's a skill everybody should learn, especially if you're a DIYer and you have copper pipes at your house. And right after I finished soldering the last joint, I had like a revelation, Jordan. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
We could have made this so much simpler and faster and better on our part. Here's what we should have done. Let's come down here and check it out. So all this 1/2 inch line is doing is going over there and looping back underground for the hose bib on the front of the building. What I could have done, just bring my 3/4 over here, boom. Not even full with this, abandon that line right there, and let's walk over to the front here. And then whichever one of these feeds the hose bib, stub it up with a cap above our finished floor. Then when we bring water over here to supply the toilet and the urinal, we just tie back in, right? But I think subconsciously I'm always thinking about, man, we gotta have water at the job site because it's 100 degrees here, just like it is on the whole planet, right? And I'm always wanting like cold water and water to cool off. But anyway, that would have been a lot better. Or I could have just put a hose bib over here. But anyway, it's all done and it's time to start framing. And we're super fired up to get this floor framed, but we don't have any wood at the job site yet. So I say let's make a list and head to the lumberyard and get it ordered. All right, we're back from the lumber yard and we got all our yellow wood for the floor right here. The rest of the lumber, they're gonna deliver tomorrow evening, but we wanted to pick this up today so we can get started on the floor bright and early tomorrow morning. We're super excited again about flooring that bathroom. It's gonna be absolutely epic. So grab yourself a hickey and bend that like button where it goes and smash it for us. If you don't have a hickey, just go online and search for one. And if your wife busts your chops because you're searching online for a hickey, just blame it on Stud Pack. We got you covered. So smash that like button like I asked. Drop a comment, ask a question, please subscribe. It means the world to Jordan and I, and we will see you on our next Stud Pack video.